I'm visiting in Plympton, this beautiful lady's home, and this tree here is a mulberry tree from the 1600s that was gifted from James I. And it is the biggest mulberry tree I've ever seen, ever. Have a look at this, how expansive. So this is Charmaine, and Charmaine,
hello.
How are you?
I'm fine.
So this is your gorgeous home.
Yes.
And did you want to tell us about the history of this mulberry tree?
Well, we think that this mulberry tree was given to the owner of this house in about 1640, 1650, because James I was particularly peeved with not getting his own source of silk. So he gave about 10,000 trees away to people he trusted, and there was a silk merchant living in this house. And unfortunately, he didn't get the right mulberries. He got, which are the white mulberries that silkworms grow on, and this one is black mulberries, and they're delicious, but you won't get any silk out of them. But we have benefited greatly because we've got this beautiful tree.
Gorgeous.
It's lovely.
And you're going to make some preserves? Or?
I'm going to make, well, I made last year, and I'm going to make again this year, some mulberry and almond vodka, which will knock the socks off. It's really lovely.
Medicinal only?
Of course. Of course. And then we're going to make, I'm going to dry some, and then I will, they don't taste as good when they're frozen, but I can tell you what is wonderful. When you've used the vodka, you've got the mulberries left. If you strain them off, the mulberries then you can use as like a sort of a coulis with if you want to eat duck
wonderful.
or venison or something like that.
Rich
it's
meat,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, it's great. And it's just over ice cream.
Yeah,
it's lovely. So yes, there are all sorts of things we can do. Mulberry wine I've made before.
Yeah,
now,
well,
which is great.
Dan's tucking into some mulberries.
They
like a naughty boy.
They are need about another 5 days maybe,
Some
and then
they're
they'll be
dropping
really.
at different times. You'll see
Yes.
they're all dropping, but they just come. They harvest
They're just still a little bit tart.
They're very. It reminds me of childhood because I definitely had a big flashback. Every house I've ever lived in had a mulberry tree, but none as big as this. This is gorgeous. And usually when I meet a big tree, a big old tree, I get this. It's funny. There's a different kind of communication that happens than meeting younger trees. But you could look at that. You see the vine of the mulberries. So just imagine we've got what history here. And this house is an old rectory. And we were just trying to find a well that Charmaine believes that there was a well here, and we were trying to do some dowsing, and we think we've located it. We just did it with our bodies, and then we checked with Thomas's necklace, and we believe we got the right spot roughly, but we don't want to be wrong with that, because then we have to dig it up, and you know. Anyway, so this is wonderful, beautiful house full of history, and we're just looking through the garden now. Just picked some. They're not quite right, but they kind of match my dress. I thought I'd try them. I'm going to be like a naughty girl with covered in blackberries. Oh, not blackberries, mulberries. Covered in mulberries. But I don't know if you can see how big this tree is. Look at that. Been a very interesting trip. I've hired a car, so now I can travel, and we're just visiting Charmaine in Plympton, and look at that gorgeous tree. Gorgeous English country gardens in the middle of summer. Beautiful day here. Some roses.
in the sort of 16th century or whatever.
So, used to be the laundry.
This was on here, it was on the back here. And when we moved in, we got 27 skiploads of rubbish to take away. And this would have had probably a kid of about 10 or 11 doing the washing on a cold December day,
Oh.
carrying it down from the big house, boiling the water
Because
up.
that was a big thing,
Yeah.
doing laundry, because they had to use different sort of chemicals and stuff to
And
do.
I think that's why the well is there, because I think it would have run down
yeah,
here, and that's why they wouldn't.
and then they
done it.
would have used.
Anyway, and then we built this summer house,
That's gorgeous.
which we'll go and have a look at in a minute.
Beautiful. And this is a cedar tree here?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No.
What is it?
It's a type of I want to say Leylandia, but it's not. My father gave me this tree, and on the label it said it would grow to 2 foot high and 3 foot spread. My dad had a great sense of humour.
What a gorgeous, what a gorgeous tree.
It is a beautiful tree.
And
nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows what
well,
it
I
is.
thought it was a cedar tree,
No,
but then cedars are usually straight up and
upright.
down, aren't
Yeah.
they? Yeah, yeah.
Very sideways.
It's not a tight.
Lily, what are you
Would
doing?
make a good bonsai if it was small.
It would, wouldn't it?
And Charmin has had years ago, the time team visited and they did some digging there and exploring. Wow, artichokes!
Oh my goodness.
Look at these artichokes, hey? Great. Oh, look at the chemtrail. Gorgeous. I've grown artichokes before. Very delicious, but very wasteful of lots of things you've got to get rid of. Beautiful. We've got some agapanthus. Can you see the agapanthus? Got lots of them in the Blue Mountains where I am. Beautiful garden. Can you check that out? In an English country garden. And there's the house, the summer house. This is a really old building. I think it dates back to, I think she said 1,000 years. Not sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe 1400s at the very latest. But it's beautiful here. And we'll keep exploring, seeing. So I was saying that Charmian had Time Team here with Tony Robbins, and I used to love that show. They used to do lots of.
Okay, see, come and smell. Almost like candy.
Let's have a look.
Shall I hold it?
Yeah.
Hang on a second.
My God.
Can't
like
get you
sugar.
on camera. There you
There
go.
we go. Yes,
This is a very English garden,
it is a very. I was just singing in an English country
and
garden.
it's.
Did you want to tell us about your Time Team experience?
I can do in a
What
minute,
year?
yes, but I want to tell you that this garden, when we moved here, was just had horses on it, and it was just like it was a field. You couldn't walk down it without turning your ankle.
Wow.
So we have spent
You
many
really?
years.
Yeah.
But come and see the vegetable garden, and then I'll tell you about plants.
Okay. So gorgeous. And there's some cranes here. Oh, we're all.
Oh, look at those. Should definitely take time to smell the roses in life.
Sorry, we're admiring your roses first. They smell good.
Beautiful.
This is my favourite colour. One of
Yellow.
mine.
This reminds me.
So good.
This reminds me back in the time.
What you've got to do, Thomas, is breathe it straight into your heart chakra.
Ah,
Ah,
yes.
yes.
Well, we did the rose
Yes,
thing,
yes,
didn't
yes.
we? Smell it.
Incredible.
She said roses are the best thing for your heart chakra. Yeah, we did that on the retreat, our second day, which was beautiful. Look at the gorgeous. This is what I want in my. Yeah.
This
I
is
can't
what
remember.
is
What they
already
called
there.
standard roses, the ones that go up and then.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is already there. Already manifested.
Yeah.
Look at those red ones.
Lavender. These are the types of gardens we have a lot in the Blue Mountains because the temperature's a lot better for English sort of
Oh, look at them. Look
breeds of plant.
Oh my God. Sorry.
That is the
Now
best,
I'm a
isn't it?
real poofter. You know? I'm walking around in the garden and
You're a
sniffing
wonderful
roses.
poofter.
They match your shoes. Oh yes.
Get
Oh,
one.
that is a
The
gorgeous
one.
colour. So that's
The most beautiful colour.
Isn't it? It's like velvet.
it's like a dark. Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Oh
I
my
love
God.
lavender.
If only we had smelly vision.
Oh, have we got some bees? Let me see. I'm a bit short, but I'll try and reach.
That's just incredible.
It's like this intense
Yes.
concentration of rose.
That's
Yeah.
why people love roses, because it's
Yeah, it's heart chakra. Yep.
and then
Rose. That's why we wore roses on
Yes.
that day, didn't we? That was a beautiful day. A beautiful activation. Here's old Millie. Millie's suspicious of us. Millie, you okay, Millie? Wow, look at this, gorgeous. See, everybody needs a garden like this.
Oh, this
You
is
see?
where those wonderful cucumbers came from. The big ones.
Yes, we got a large courgette and cucumbers.
Oh, yes, it's all
Yeah,
gone.
oh yeah, we had the courgette as well. So, looks like we've got some old apple trees. Can you see that? Maybe I've got it in the wrong. Yep. Huh? Apple. We've got wonderful. Got some rhubarb. Rhubarb. And not quite sure what these are. Let's have a look. We've got looks like some type of bean, runner beans, I think. There we go. Oh, they're the flat type, so maybe they're a type of bean anyway. What type of beans are these?
Runner beans.
Runner beans. I was right. There you go, runner beans. And got looks like corn or is that corn? Corn or wheat? Or what's that? Very interesting. Yeah. And we've got some Tuscan kale. Have a look at this Tuscan kale.
Yeah.
I love Tuscan kale.
That work?
And some tomatoes. There's the tomatoes. No, we don't have tomatoes. These aren't tomatoes. These are just
We have to also build a
kale.
house in the vegetable.
Tomatoes here. I think these would be tomatoes. Yeah. And it looks like. Oh, what have I done? Just. Now, what's that? Is that rhubarb as well? No, that looks like a Swiss chard. A rainbow chard, maybe. Is that rainbow chard here? Or yep. Mhm.
This is kohlrabi.
Kohlrabi.
You can make really nice fries.
Kohlrabi and Tuscan kale.
Yeah.
Ooh, we make a
Pumpkins,
nice
I mean,
kale and
squash,
bean.
whatever.
Yeah. Here you go. Some probably butternut squash. Mmm.
look at this.
Oh, that's a
Oh, that's quite a
Oh, that
cucumber.
looks fun. I mean, delicious.
Damn.
cucumber.
Excuse me. Om Shanti Shanti.
Charmian, do you do things with the courgette flowers?
I don't. I should do.
Yeah, you stuff them with cheese. Yeah, like the Italians do, and then fry them up.
If I do that, I'm going to then lose the courgette.
Ah, well, usually people pick the courgette with the flower, and then you cut the flower off, use the flower, and then.
But often the courgette isn't usually big enough by the flower.
Yeah, well, they're usually picked. I mean, it depends on the variety, but they pick them small.
It might depend on the type of.
Yeah, probably. She's got some lovely tomatoes in there, so the tomatoes will be growing in the because they need hotter weather, so they need to be growing in the greenhouse.
Just giving us some
That, so in the Blue Mountains where I am, we have to put our tomatoes in usually in a greenhouse because it's too cold. We get frosts and all sorts of stuff. And here we have, which is everywhere, all over the estate where I'm staying. There's lots of these berries. You see them everywhere in the hedgerows and stuff. It's brambleberry season. All these brambles everywhere, so you get a lot of blackberries and little blackberries everywhere. This is gorgeous to have a look at. So, some raspberries. We've got raspberries.
Yeah.
That beautiful cake that you made, did it have all the berries from the garden?
Not the strawberries, nor the
Ju-
blueberries.
but the-
no, I actually bought those.
But the raspberries, yeah. And we've got some dill, looks like. So, looking great. I feel a bit rude, recording of it. I did ask, and she said it was okay to record. Let's have a look. Ooh, chilies.
Now, what you need to do, with chilies, is if you
Take the seed out.
freeze them,
Yeah.
and just chop them as you want them when they're frozen, and then
Yes,
just put them back
I
in the
do it,
freezer.
yeah.
And then, otherwise,
I
you'll
see.
end up wasting them.
Yeah, I
Cool
do that.
idea.
Now, just
I do that.
chop, put them back in the freezer straight away.
Okay.
I do that. Put them in the freezer.
Have whatever you like.
Hydrangeas, one of my favourite flowers.
Lucy, would you like to try one of the apples?
This reminds me of my childhood. I had apple trees and plum trees.
This is like Adam and Eve. I'm
know,
feeling
it's like the tree
tempted
of
by
Adam-
biting
Put
into
that
the
away.
apple.
Stop brandishing that cucumber quite like that.
Yes, quite.
Wow. And do you do everything obviously organically and you don't?
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't use any sprays of any sort on anything.
Do you just grow things like symbiotically so that some things get rid of the pests
I
and
try to. I try to. What I do, the only thing I use as a weed killer is that I mix vinegar with salt, handful of salt, some washing up liquid,
Yes, I've
and
heard.
some water, and that's what I spray on that path which needs doing. I'll try and do that this weekend, and that gets rid of the weeds, and I hope it doesn't hurt the insects, but I don't use anything. I have been known to go in and harangue garden centre managers and say, "What are you doing selling Roundup? Do you know what
Yes,
you
it
are
can
doing?" I
destroy
write about it endlessly, and I get grumpier and grumpier.
the
And
Shaman's a
I shout at
journalist.
people from my page and tell them that,
Are you allowed to tell us what paper you write
Oh
for?
yeah, I write for all sorts of papers, but
Yeah.
I write for I have a Saturday page in the Western Morning News, which is the biggest regional newspaper in the country.
Wonderful, yeah.
So I sit on my soapbox every week.
I love that.
Tell
It's sort of like an
people-
editorial.
Yeah, well, you can make people laugh or make them grumpy.
Can you tell
or
us
whatever.
again about the
Stop
wall? the
pointing
stone
with your cucumber.
I don't mind you pointing with your
Tell us
cucumber,
about
Thomas.
this.
I'm a woman of
We're
the
all
world.
friends.
you know.
wall? Tell us about the wall.
The wall.
There's a history, isn't
It's
it?
a listed wall. It's listed, which means that it's been here a long time. You can't do anything to it.
Like a
there-
heritage listed, protected.
Yeah, protected. And there's a river that runs, or a stream that runs down the bottom there as well. You can't see it from here, but I'm not sure. I can't know what else there is to tell you about the wall, really, other than it's nice to have a walled garden. But the only problem with a walled garden is that it is home to all the snails and slugs. So when they see us toiling in the vegetable garden, they lay back on their sun loungers in the wall, and then at night they all come hurtling out saying, "Come on, for as much as you can eat down here," and they do, and they trump the
I
way through.
heard if you put eggshells, half eggshells, and then pour beer or something,
Yeah,
and
you have to
get
drink
rid
an
of
awful lot of beer and have a lot of eggs in this.
and a lot of eggs. Yeah,
I
yeah.
have done it, but
But you've got such a big
I
garden.
get very keen every now and again, and I get
Get
slops
salt
from the
and-
pub, and anyway, and put that in. But otherwise, I sort of reckon that they've got their right to eat some of it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I say to them, "Look, you can have that much." So I come down, and they've had that much. They've left me that much.
This is a lovely park. So
We've
Is there-
planted everything here,
it's
apart
gorgeous.
from these big sycamore trees
Yeah.
outside.
So there's some sycamore trees up there. And are we allowed to know about Time Team yet?
Oh yeah, of course you can. Yeah. Time Team, we
What
invited
year?
Time Team down about 10 years ago, I suppose. 10, maybe even 20, I don't know.
But it's a fig tree.
Yeah, that's figs. Got figs on it
Oh, I
too.
love figs.
And
That's another plant I grew up with. Lots of fig trees in every house I've ever lived in.
and anyway, so the Time Team came down, and it's still available on YouTube. Time Team Plympton St Maurice, Maurice, and you can look at that, and that will go all through the village, the history of the village. It goes through to our house, and they did a lot of exploration in our cellars, and they showed where the original road was, and it was very interesting to learn the history. I do commend you to look it up online.
I
if you
will.
want
I'm
to.
going to share the link. So Plympton St Maurice,
Yeah.
Maurice,
Yeah.
and you can probably find that with Time Team.
Yeah, you
but
can find it on YouTube,
Mhm.
and it's on all sorts of channels now.
Great, wonderful.
It's a little bit dated. Tony Robinson is racing like Usain Bolt from one place to another and getting very sort of anxious about things, but it's of its time, but it does give some good information.
What is
Beautiful.
This is a plaque to Guy, and we haven't yet scattered him, but we did have it in the area down the end where the children always played, but they don't play down there now, so we've just put it under this statue, and unfortunately the plants that go round aren't so great. It's usually full of primroses because he was born in February, and the primroses, a lady called Katie Boy, you probably don't know, but anyway, she gave me a whole load of primroses when I was in hospital. And I kept them, and I brought them down from where we lived in London. I brought them down here and planted them. And actually they come up in the spring, and it's just a nice memory thing for so
For your little beauty.
yeah, absolutely, little angel. It really was an angel. I was very lucky to have had him.
Sweet.
Look, this is a double tree.
It's so sunny.
So,
How weird. That's
so unusual. Oh,
Not
this is,
not with sycamores. It's
you
not.
can see the ivy.
So you're saying
So-
there's another ley line going
Yeah.
through there. How do you know that there's a ley line?
It's
Because of the ivy.
Where the ivy grows.
Right, I've got ivy all over my
Yeah, that's definitely, you can see.
leaf blower.
And it's twisted. So
Was it chainsaw or leaf blower? Bloody hell. Alright. And it's twisted.
like you can see, it's like going out
Yeah.
into two.
Right.
Thank you, Joanne, for sharing that
Yeah,
with us.
Joanne sort of
Joanne
knows about
is
how to
the-
find
Do
the
you
ley
feel the
lines.
ley lines in this garden?
But there's a big ley line in
Yeah.
this property, right?
Yeah,
A really
but
wide
apparently
one.
It goes from the waters, from the stream at the end,
Yeah.
and comes right the way up.
Well, we know that there's definitely a book we came across. Somebody gifted a book last week or she left a book, and it was about ley lines in England, right?
Yep.
Or in the UK. And Joanne took that book, so there's definitely one available that you can find, talking about all the different ley lines, but very interesting. So the ivy seems to be the key.
I was thinking, what is this strange
And
creature coming out of the hedge?
hello, Millie. She's still a bit suspicious. Suspicious of us. Great garden, absolutely gorgeous.
This is what you call a typical English.
Yes. Yeah. So where I live in the Blue Mountains this is the type of garden you'll find. Look at that gorgeous lawn. Done perfectly with chemtrails in the sky. That's a good lawn. And jasmine, is it? Is this jasmine? No. Not jasmine. I don't think it's jasmine. Anyway, still wandering around. 22:22. That's how long I've been recording for.
You can't, back here you can't see it, but you can see the church tower further back, which is lovely, and the flag flying on it. And,
So this was a
lovely to
rectory,
hear the bells
apparently.
ringing in the garden.
There's so many apparently different people who've lived here.
What
Very old house, and she was telling me stories about some of the spirits that have been here that she's witnessed.
You think of
Gorgeous.
the wars that this house has been through, that the people that have sat round in the dining room and
absolutely.
talked
Yeah.
all through the different histories of you know, I mean, think of the prime ministers we've had since the 14th century of people living here, and their problems would have been just the same. You know, they would have been moaning about politics, price of food,
Taxation.
people going off and having affairs, and you know,
Yep.
the price of
Bread.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nothing would have changed. And I often think of people coming in here with wigs and
Yes,
and,
I've seen
you know,
that.
wigs.
yeah, and
Yeah,
and
wonderful.
it makes you think how trivial. I say trivial, and that sounds a very bad thing to say, but it's true, really. You know, we all worry ourselves silly about all the things that are going on in the world, but they've happened right through life, right through centuries,
many times.
and we're still surviving. I mean, this
Still surviving.
is civil wars, world wars. People have sat here and get life.
And life goes on and on and on.
Yeah, it really does.
Absolutely. Let's
So-
relax now.
Did you say Sir Christopher Wren not lived in the house but lived in the
lived in the
village?
village. He
The
lived
man
in the
who
village.
was
Yes,
the
he
architect
lived in
of
the
St Paul's
village, yeah.
Cathedral.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
So,
Thank you so much for showing us your gorgeous home. Thank you.
pleasure.
And I could
It's only
see,
it's only lent to me. You know?
and I could see your echinacea. Is that echinacea there?
Yes.
You got some echinacea. Wonderful. Let me see that. Echinacea. So many wonderful things here. Beautiful. Ah. Isn't that gorgeous?
Artichoke plant.
Artichokes.
You have to eat them before they
open the
the
blossom
Mhm.
before the flowering
Yeah,
comes.
but I can't. I just can't do that. I'm
Because
very
now
bad
they
at-
are already
Yeah, they're
dried
dried out.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do love
But the
them.
bees love them.
Yes.
And you chop them off in
Yeah.
winter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
And,
love artichokes.
They always feel like there's so much labour, so much stuff for a tiny little treat. isn't
I
it?
know.
It
I know. Absolutely. So we
Right.
put this in, and we layered the garden
It's-
because it
It's
just was a
amazing.
slope. So
Yes.
we layered it all and Paul
So we've put some steps.
hand layered this, hand did this grass.
Wow.
Um,
It's a beautiful
We had a
lawn.
whole load of what we thought was topsoil delivered, and they were real cheats. They delivered a load of clay, and when it rained, we had a lake. We had swans swimming. We had to churn it all up and start again.
Still eating the apple. See, this is a proper apple. It goes a bit brown when you hold it. Not like the ones they spray.